Good afternoon. My name is Dan Scripps, Chair of the Michigan Public Service Commission. I call this meeting of the Commission to order on March 13, 2025 at 1:05 p.m. Madam Secretary, please call the
Chair Scripps.
present.
Present. Present.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Today's meeting is being held in person at the Commission's office at 7109 West Saginaw Highway in Lansing, Michigan. We are also hosting this meeting remotely using Microsoft Teams. Telephone relay service is available through the option. If you are participating via Microsoft Teams, you may also turn on the live captions by clicking on the More button at the top right of your Teams window, then clicking on Language and Speech from the drop-down menu, finally clicking on Turn on Live Captions. As indicated in the notice for today's meeting, if we lose the remote connection, the Commission will not recess. The meeting will be recorded, however, and available for future reference at the Commission's website. In addition, the Commissioners can receive comments via lara-mpsc-commissioners@michigan.gov. For reference, this email is also included in today's meeting notice. We will have an opportunity for the public to make comments as provided in the agenda. A few notes about this. Comments are limited to one per person and limited to 3. If you would like to make verbal comments, you must do so in person or remotely through Microsoft Teams or by calling into the meeting by phone. For individuals attending in person and who want to make a verbal comment, please fill out a comment card. You can find these at the front table near the podium. For individuals participating remotely by Microsoft Teams and who want to make a verbal comment, you may click on the raise hand button at any time to be queued up for comment. For individuals participating remotely by phone and who want to make a verbal comment, you may press *5 at any time to be queued up for comment. Public commenters on both Microsoft Teams and on the phone are added to the same speaker queue, be called upon in the order that they enter the speaker queue, and so please do not lower your hand or press *5 again, or you'll be removed from the queue and lose your place in line. Finally, to minimize disruptions, attendees participating virtually by Microsoft Teams or by phone will be muted until we reach the time for public. The first order of business is approval of the agenda for today's meeting.
I move for the approval of the agenda for today's commission meeting.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve today's agenda. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries by a unanimous vote and the agenda is approved. The next item of business on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the February 27, 2025 commission meeting.
I move for the approval of the minutes from the February 27, 2025 commission meeting.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? Now have a vote on the motion to approve the minutes from the February 27, 2025 commission meeting. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The commission meeting minutes of February 27, 2025 are approved. Next item of business on the agenda is the approval of minute actions on the consent agenda. Today, the commission is assisted by Staff Attorney Shannon Wamba. Recognize Ms. Wamba.
Good afternoon. Today's consent agenda consists of 2 communications matters. The proposed minute actions for these matters have been thoroughly vetted by the Commission's technical and legal staff and are ready for your approval.
Thank you, Ms. Wamba. I move for the approval of the minute actions on the consent agenda.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We'll now have a vote on the motion to approve the minute actions on the consent agenda. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The minute actions on the consent agenda are approved. Recognize Ms. Wamba.
Item 4A1 is case number U-21361, which involves an application filed by DTE Electric requesting ex parte approval of an amended and restated special contract with FCA US LLC and ex parte approval of the Silver Creek Solar Park project and related master service agreements. The order before you approves the application.
I move for the approval of the order in case number U-21361.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We'll now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case number U-21361 is approved. I recognize Ms. Wamba.
Item 4A2 is case number U-21400, which involves a matter on the Commission's own motion to establish a work group to investigate appropriate financial incentives and penalties to address outages and distribution performance moving forward.
I move for the approval of the order in case number U-21400.
Sorry, could we go back to Item 4A2, Ms. Wamba? Is that what you had?
I have it as case number U-21400.
Yes. Could you read that again?
It involves a matter on the commission's own motion to establish a work group to investigate appropriate financial incentives and penalties to address outages and distribution performance moving forward.
Excellent. Thank you.
I move for the approval of the order in case number U-21400.
I second the motion.
Before we vote on this, just a few words, and apologies for the confusion, Ms. Wamba. I think we had a disconnection there for a moment. The order in front of us kicks off the second phase of our Reliability Plus initiative in case number U-21400. And phase 2 is focused on considering the challenges to the grid's ability to accommodate and leverage the rise in adoption of distributed generation, electric vehicles, and other distributed energy resources. In today's order specifically, we're seeking comments on 5 focus areas that we've identified and where we would like feedback. These include distributed energy resource interconnection timelines and the process governing those, customer data access and hosting capacity, the opportunity to aggregate distributed energy resources, including for non-wires alternatives, considering opportunities to use some of those same tools to potentially mitigate challenges involving the conversion of 4.8 kilovolt distribution systems, and then considering opportunities to improve our utilization of advanced metering infrastructure and grid modernization technologies. The order in front of us today schedules a comment period regarding these issues affecting the readiness of the utility distribution grids, and also includes a distribution paper that outlines additional details on each of these 5 issues and some of the work streams that may flow out of it. There is an opportunity for initial comments and follow-up comments, and those follow-up comments will conclude on June 27th, 2025. So excited to launch this second phase of this effort, really trying to leverage performance-based regulatory approaches to improve the performance of the utility distribution systems and make full use of the opportunities that distributed energy resources and the evolving role of utility customers provides. Is there any additional discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case number U-21400 is approved. I recognize Ms. Wamba.
Thank you, Chair. Item 4A3 is case number U-21455, which involves an application for approval of interconnection procedures, forms, and agreements filed by Northern States Power Company pursuant to Michigan Administrative Code R460.920. The order before you approves interconnection procedures, forms, and agreements for Northern States Power Company and grants a requested waiver.
I move for the approval of the order in case number U-21455.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote, and the order in case number U-21455 is approved. I recognize Ms. Wamba.
Thank you. Item 4A4 is case number U-21480, which involves an application for approval of interconnection procedures filed by Consumers Energy Company pursuant to Michigan Administrative Code R460.920. The order before you approves interconnection procedures, forms, and agreements for Consumers Energy Company.
I move for the approval of the order in case number U-21480.
I second the motion.
And just a few words on this one as well. This is we have a series of orders today that really taken together reflect a focus on opportunities to improve the performance of the distribution grid. This is one of the 2 orders approving utility interconnection procedures that we have in front of us today, and would just note that as part of this order, we are creating a standing interconnection technical work group to provide an ongoing forum among interested parties and individuals, as well as obviously the utilities and our commission staff, for discussion of technical issues related to the interconnection process with initial topics focusing on cost allocation, reporting requirements, the application of standards, and other technical concerns. Think this similar to our energy waste reduction collaborative that's been in place since 2009 will provide an opportunity for discussion around some of the issues connected to interconnection of distributed energy resources with utility distribution systems, and look forward to the results of this ongoing conversation as we work to modernize the grid. Is there any additional discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case number U-21480 is approved. I recognize Ms. Wambaugh.
Item 4A5 is case number U-21482, which involves approval of interconnection procedures followed by DTE Electric Company pursuant to Michigan Administrative Code R460.920. The order before you grants a joint motion seeking a 90-day extension of the deadline for issuing the final order in this case.
I move for the approval of the order in case number U-21482.
I second the motion.
Just one quick note on this. There was an error in the agenda that we put out for this meeting that listed this as a final order. Obviously, it is granting a 90-day extension to allow for the continuation of settlement discussions. And so this is an interim order, not a final order in this proceeding. Is there any discussion on this? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the interim order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case number U-21482 is approved. Recognize Ms. Wambaugh.
Item 4A6 is case number U-21619, which involves a request by Ford Motor Company for a declaratory ruling that its home backup power system does not require prior written authorization from an electric utility prior to operation. The order before you approves the request and associated declaratory ruling as described in the order.
I move for the approval of the order in case number U-21619.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I would just like to highlight this declaratory ruling as a step towards improving clarity and coordination between our electric utilities and our automakers who are developing new and innovative and beneficial technologies for their customers. Michigan is an automotive state, is the automotive state, and coordination and cooperation between our strong automotive industry and our electric utilities is important. We have new benefits and opportunities that are presented to us with vehicle electrification, and it's important that we are all speaking the same language to be able to take advantage of those new opportunities to improve customers' resilience, affordability, and flexibility for how they use their vehicles and their vehicles' capabilities. Clarity between these industries is important, and I'm happy to be able to help show via this declaratory ruling in front of us that is clearly within Michigan's interconnection rules that an electric utility customer that has an EV with vehicle-to-home capabilities can use their vehicle to provide backup power to their home during a power outage without needing written permission from their electric utility.
Thank you, Commissioner Paratek. And just to note, I believe that this is among the first of these in the country to clarify the regulatory treatment of this sort of home backup power system, and hope that it will be a model for others across the other 49 states as we move forward. Is there any additional discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case number U-21619 is approved. Recognize Ms. Wambaugh.
Thank you. Item 4A7 is case numbers U-21767 et al., which involves a matter on the Commission's own motion to grant waivers from certain interconnection and distribution generation standards for the investor-owned utilities identified in this order. The order before you approves the amended applications requesting ex parte approval of updated distributed generation tariffs, followed by Alpena Power Company, Consumers Energy Company, DTE Electric Company, Indiana Michigan Power Company, Upper Michigan Energy Resources Corporation, and Upper Peninsula Power Company, and approves in part and denies in part the amended application filed by Northern States Power Company as described in this order.
Thank you, Ms. Wamba. I move for the approval of the order in case numbers U-21767 et al.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case numbers U-21767 et al. Is approved. I recognize Ms. Wambaugh.
Item 488 is case number U-21859, which involves an application filed by Consumers Energy Company for ex parte approval of certain amendments to the rate GPD. The order before you sets a contested case proceeding and directs the company and other participants to attend a pretrial conference scheduled for April 16th, 2025.
I move for the approval of the order in case number U-21859.
I second the motion.
And a quick word on this one as well before we vote. So this is something that was brought forward in terms of some of the rates and tariffs that would apply to data center customers choosing to locate in Consumers Energy territory. There was a fair amount of interest in this order, and so we felt that it was best that we transition this into a contested case proceeding. That said, we have the goal of issuing an expedited decision in this matter, and so as a result of that, we will be reading the record, the evidence that's produced in testimony, and dispense with the need for a proposal for decision to allow us to move forward in an expedited manner. We also, pursuant to our commission rules and specifically Rule 431 governing settlements, want to encourage the settlement of this case. It seems that there is a lot of common ground between the intervening parties, and we've seen the opportunity for constructive settlements in other states and other jurisdictions involving tariffs governing data center customers. And so again, pursuant to Rule 431, which states that all parties to proceedings before the commission are encouraged to enter into settlements when possible, would encourage parties in this case to do the same. Is there any additional discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case number U-21859 is approved. We've now reached the time reserved for members of the public to address the commission. As mentioned in the notice for today's meeting, we will take public comments in the following order. First, from individuals attending in person, and then from individuals participating remotely, either through Microsoft Teams or the phone, who have entered the speaker queue. As a reminder, this public comment period is for commissioners to listen to comments and concerns, not to answer specific questions. When providing comment, please indicate your name and where you live if you're willing to share that so that we have it for our records. And again, please limit comments to one per person and keep them brief, no longer than 3 minutes, so that we have a chance to hear from all who would like to comment. We do have a couple of comment cards, 3 of them at this point in front of us, so we'll move through those in order. If there are others who would like to make public comment who have not filled out a card, you may do so at the table by the podium. And it looks like we also have a trio of individuals who would like to submit public comment through the virtual options, and so we'll get to those once we've taken comment from people in the room. The first card that I have is Doug Bonteco. Bonteco? Say it again, sorry.
Doug
Bonteco, apologies. And it's Supervisor Bonteco, isn't it?
Yeah.
Welcome.
Hello, my name is Doug Bonteco, Supervisor in Osceola County. I am here to represent the landowners of the Winterfield, Cranberry, Riverside, Overijssel, and Saline gas storage fields that are operated by Consumers Energy. I am here requesting an official clarification on a Rule 460.20338, referred to as a farm tap. This rule requires standards for new gas connections on gas that is directly delivered to the landowners. The consumer's position is if a current connection is terminated because the well was closed, a reconnection to an alternative well is classified as a new connection, and it is the landowner's responsibility for the cost of the new equipment. FERC had ruled that the landowner's portion did not start at the wellhead, it started at a downstream valve. Consumers is no longer under FERC jurisdiction. We are seeking an official position on who bears the cost of the farm tap rule so we can proceed in the appropriate court. If the commission deems it to be the landowner's cost, we will proceed to the Attorney General because we believe it is unconstitutional because it violates Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution in regards to laws impairing the obligations of contracts. If it is consumers' responsibility, we believe it is a legal law and we will proceed to the appropriate court. Does the commission have any questions for me at this time?
No, Mr. Bonteco.
Thank you very much.
I think you've been working with Mr. Krautz from our team. There are some folks in the room who I think are here to help you as well. And
I'm hoping so.
we want to help get this straightened out.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming down today. Gary Burke, I have you up next.
Good afternoon. My name is Gary Burke. I'm just a retired individual citizen with too much time on my hands. My topic is equitable funding for roads for electric and plug-in hybrids. There has been, I've heard discussion about registration fees or, maybe toll roads or something else to try to raise some money. But to me, like an electric fuel tax or surcharge, like would be probably the most equitable and fairest way to go. And so I'm asking if you agree with me on that, or if it's at least worth considering to perhaps direct staff to coordinate, like with some of the major electric utilities, just to assess the feasibility of implementing, like such a surcharge. Taxing the electric fuel used would be comparable to the gas and diesel tax, more proportionate to the miles of road use, actually, than say an annual registration fee increase. Actual cost of electric fuel with a road surcharge versus cost of gas with road tax would better inform car buyers evaluating the economics of gas versus electric. I believe it's implementable. The collection mechanism is largely in place with current electric billing procedures and relatively easy to levy on dedicated charging stations. For residential charging, smart metering can handle time of day use and sub-metering of the circuit for charging. It would be easier for consumers to budget and pay with monthly billing than an annual registration fee. And the electric use data for EVs and hybrids would help understand and plan for their growing demand on the electric grid. Thank you.
Mr. Burke. You said you were a retired individual. It sounds like you're an engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Water resources engineer, but it kind of carries over.
I'm surrounded by engineers. Thanks for being here today. Valerie Brader.
Thank you. On behalf of Ford Motor Company, I wanted to convey our thanks for the action of the Commission today on the motion for a declaratory ruling regarding interconnection rules and home backup power. As many attending today's meeting know, Ford chose to file this in Michigan not because our customers had had bad experiences with their utilities, but because our customer experiences were often among the best in the country. Those experiences relied on the very high level of technical expertise for both electric infrastructure and the automotive industry that Michigan uniquely possesses. We are so pleased not just at the outcome today, but because of the process it represents and our hope that this becomes a model. The preparation of this filing was a very collaborative process. Before we ever filed, we were grateful that several members of the MPSC staff and nearly every Michigan utility, large and small, took the time to review the filing and give feedback regarding their additional questions or concerns. We are grateful both at utilities who have very few staff to send to things and some of the largest utilities who have a heck of a lot on their plate sent their best people to have those conversations. Key technical staff, regulators, interveners, utilities, and Ford itself were able to meet and address the questions and the issues. Those questions and observations made this filing better and helped us to understand what we can do in the future as product offerings change. We've already distributed copies of the filings to folks in other states to help answer questions and have had excellent feedback. This decision today, as you noted, has Michigan leading the nation. Right now, we are on the start of the moment where vehicles do more than they ever have to interact with our electric distribution grid. That means vehicle models may appear in literally thousands and thousands of utility territories at the same time. and the applicable rules are governed by state and not federal law. EV customers and the auto industry as a whole will benefit tremendously from having regulatory clarity without first requiring the equivalent of litigation by a single customer in each of 18,000 jurisdictions. This order is a wonderful step to demonstrating how powerful collaboration can be and making sure that automakers, utilities, interveners, and regulators can all work together to make customer experiences similarly positive and predictable. So again, thank you to the commission staff, the staff of so many utilities and other interveners who have helped in this process, and we appreciate all the leadership shown. Thank you.
Ms. Brader. We have four, folks joining through the virtual options. So I have Jack Wages up first, and Heidi Brown as second. Mr. Wages, it looks like you unmuted and then maybe remuted. You could try to. Oops. Apologies, I had turned off my mic. So we've now reached the opportunity to hear from folks who are participating virtually. I think we have 4 individuals in the queue for that. Up first is Jack Wages, and second is Heidi Brown. Mr. Wages, I believe you turned your mic on and then off again recently, and so if you could turn it back on, we'd love to hear from you. All right, let's move on to Heidi Brown, and we will come back to Mr. Wages if we can after. Ms. Brown.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioners and Chair. Can you hear me okay?
We can. Thanks for being with
All
us.
right. Thank you. This is case U21471. I'm Heidi Brown Drumheller, 4601 18.5 Mile Road, concerning Helix Hippo. I'm going to talk about ITC's initial application, Exhibit 2 METC-23B, December 2020. On page 464, the Federal Fish and Wildlife Service tells ITC to avoid EMR habitat. That's the Eastern Massasauga rattlesnake. It tells ITC to avoid the habitat. Under the headings layout, number 4, it states, and this is also on page, okay, you got it. It says to plan the site to help ensure EMR habitat is adequately protected by avoiding habitat in Tier 1 and Tier 2. My farm is on Tier 1. We are documented Tier 1 EMR habitat. On page 470 of the same application, the Fish and Wildlife Service is telling ITC to site your project so that it does not overlap Tier 1, which is the habitat, which we are Tier 1, or Tier 2, which is potential habitat. It does say that for projects within the range of the EMR, that ITC could construct the poles, but put a minimal footprint during construction. But our farm, the Drumheller Marsh, is in Tier 1. So there's no option for poles in Tier 1. The last sighting of the Eastern Massasauga rattlesnake was on October 4th, 2024. We had pictures of some prior to that, but they were quite old. This one was recent. We documented that on October 7th with dates, pictures, where it came from the Nottawa Drain, which is going through our farm. We documented this with M. Dana of the Fisheries Division, DNR. We Google mapped it, sent this to the Federal Fish and Wildlife Bureau, and now we are Tier 1. And that is, I'm going to go on to one more thing. ITC has a mission statement to be transparent, honest, with frequent communication with landowners. They say they work together throughout design, construction process to minimize the impact on property. I've hosted 3 town forums now. We get 50 to 100 views from landowners where Helix Hipple is going to go through, and communities. We are discovering one thing. There is absolutely no communication. Our communities had no idea that they could voice with the MPSC. 1.5 years, we've had no contact. The only contact with ITC are the people that are coming out to deliver options. MPSC is supposed to be our voice. July is way too early to make decisions. We have been ghosted by ITC since the fall of 2023. ITC told property owners the route was pretty much set when delivering these options starting in October. And so we're all concerned here in our community. They're coming out offering these options, and it says sign today or get 25% off our offer later. ITC is virtually offering nothing per acre for a lifetime of infringement and a 50% decline in property values immediately. Our town and community is now aware of that we can contact you. I'd like to make maybe bring it to your attention that the comments in the past 24 hours in this case have gone up from 76 to 86. We're trying to document the people who are coming from our area by posting Tekonsha in capital letters before the comments, so you'll definitely see them. And I ask that you consider the comments and know that we are running out of time with this, and we're all wanting to voice our opinion. Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you,
Have a
Ms.
wonderful
Brown.
day.
You as well. Thank you, Ms. Brown Drumhiller. Jack Wages, I think I saw you come off mute again. And so if you are there, we'd love to hear from you.
Hello,
We can hear you.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I live just a couple miles south of Tekonsha, actually. And as far as transparency, like Heidi was talking about from ITC, I understand that this thing had been planned since 2023. And the first notice that my wife and I received was August 5th by 2 form letters with our property tax ID code numbers on them. And that was last August 2024. This thing goes about 400 feet from my house according to their plan. The one gentleman that came out, a young guy that first came out to tell us, you know, what was going on, kept saying, geez, I'm really sorry to have to tell you about this. I'm really sorry to have to tell you. And I asked him, I said, well, how wide is this stray field of energy going to be? I said, with this power line, it's supposed to be a high transmission line being 400 feet from my house. You know, how much radiation are we going to be exposed to? And he said, well, I don't know. I really can't tell you. And he said he'd find out and get back with us. Well, we never heard back on that piece of information we were looking for. The other thing is, you know, with this exposure, my wife has had cancer twice. And fortunately, the last time was 15 years ago, but you know, we have a pool here at the house, and you know, on days when it's nice out, we like to sit out by the pool like anybody else would. And, you know, I'm concerned about exposure being out there. And I certainly don't want her exposed to it 24/7 the rest of our lives. This power line would go diagonally across my farm. I have two possible building lots north of my house that we'd thought about building a smaller house when we get a little bit older. That would eliminate that possibility because it would go across both of those pieces. I have another farm just a little ways away. It goes across the corner of that, which would be along the river bottom. So it's definitely a wetland. In the spring, if we have much more rain than what we've had this year, that will be underwater. So I don't know that that has a designated wetland status, but it sure is full of lowland and all kinds of animal habitat. And I have neighbors that farmers that go that this line would go kitty corner diagonally across their properties. Um, I listened to one other podcast and people were talking about the most logical route for this thing would be to go up the I-69 corridor, which makes absolutely more sense than going across all these pieces of private property and Centennial farms that they're talking about cutting up and destroying. And where that comes into Michigan, just across the line south of Gilead, the Indiana toll road can't be much more than a couple or 3 miles from that. And if they went right down the toll road corridor and then right up 69, you could run right to Lansing and maybe never even cross any private property. And so they're talking about destroying these farms, from what I'm being told.
Just, I've given you a little
I
extra
said that,
time, but I need you to wrap it up if you can.
okay. The values, these property values that they're going to destroy by doing, if they go across this private property, I can't even imagine how many millions of dollars private property owners are going to lose in property value. And, I just think that if this project is so important to Michigan, that it would be so much easier for ITC to deal with one entity, DOT going up their right of ways and eliminate a lot of personal distress and um, valuations of property. For me, it could be as much as $500,000. I have an 80-acre farm that I live on,
Sir,
and
I'm
some of these
sorry.
other.
I've let you go fairly long, but
Okay.
I
All
think we'll
right.
need
Well, thank you. I appreciate the time and the opportunity to voice my opinion. I sure hope you'll take everybody's feelings into consideration when this thing comes right down to it.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Emily Chalkley and then Namra Faruqi.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm also referencing the same case number, U21471. My name is Emily Chalkley, also from Tecontia, Michigan. I'd like to start today to bring to your attention the inquiries many residents have expressed concerning legal representation against ITC's proposed high-power transmission line. Lawyers that have assessed the project have come back with such a high price that financially it's just not an option, nor should it be the burden of the property owner to defend. So if you're hearing, like you are today, and reading an uptick of comments and concerns about this transmission line, please know that MPSC is really our only recourse. This places the full responsibility for advancing this project in your hands, a project that, in its current proposal, will permanently impact farms and families, leaving us facing an uncertain future. This is a future we never anticipated, as the project is being imposed through eminent domain. Residents, including myself, feel the project is rushed. We feel a lack of representation on our behalf, along with a lack of resources on the impacts to property values, long-term losses on lands that house the line and that border the property, impacts to wetlands, farmland, wildlife, health, aesthetics, future construction, threats to wildfires or increased threats to wildfires. How about the impacts of groundwater when these poles are constructed using heavy machinery around our wells and compacting land, affecting septic systems and drainage tiles? Is there noise associated with these lines? Will it disrupt internet service? And at what point is the amount of utilities around a person's property a burden? Commissioners, I'm purposely overwhelming you with these questions to express how overwhelmed we as affected residents are feeling. I'm asking at a minimum for more time, transparency, and community engagement to assess the long-term consequences of this project and to hold ITC accountable to why eminent domain is so necessary. As there may be more viable alternatives, such as rerouting along highways, using existing transmission corridors, upgrading existing transmission lines, or exploring underground options, even if they're more costly and complex. Rushing this project only benefits shareholders, not the residents who will have to live with the permanent effects. And pushing through via eminent domain should be the very last resort, and that appears to be ITC's only solution. Thank you for your time, commissioners.
Thank you, Ms. Chalkley. Thanks for being with us today. Namra Faruqi.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Hi. Commissioner Peritic emphasized the expectation of clarity during this meeting several times. We consumers would also like clarity regarding our billing. I have been reviewing my bill for the past 3 months and it just doesn't add up. The statement shows the variable rate applied over the 3 months on one bill and the fixed charges seems to be duplicated. I note that the power supply cost recovery and infrastructure recovery mechanism surcharges went up while the energy waste reduction surcharge was reduced as an offset in November. I have read MPSC case number 16-0567 and 19-0453, so I know these charges are approved. But I'm having a hard time understanding exactly how this was calculated on my bill. There was a delayed billing for the volumetric charges while the fixed charges and surcharges seem to have been billed in duplication. How could this happen? Especially when my meter data is supposedly transmitted live. Commissioner Peritic spoke earlier about clarity. We need clarity too. My husband's graduate degree is in accounting and he started his career in financial reporting. Even he couldn't figure out all the moving parts in these Part 3 bills. We need the ability to speak to a DTE representative that is not a frontline agent who actually understand the billing in depth and ensure no duplication of billing. Does the commission have any questions for me at this time?
I don't have any questions, Ms. Faruqi, but we do have customer assistance personnel in the audience, and I can also give you a toll-free number of 800-292-9555. It's 800-292-9555, or you can connect with them via our website, which is michigan.gov/MPSC. But they are trained to investigate these, to try and get some of the answers that you've been posing from DTE in terms of whether you've been overbilled, the duplication of fixed charges, the issues with delayed billing and other things. So I know that they've been taking notes as you were speaking as well. But if it's possible to follow up with them, I know they'd love to hear from you.
No, they don't know. We've tried, they don't know. And I mean, has the commission ensured that the DTE is following the guidelines for the advanced meter infrastructure they bill us for?
Yes,
mean,
that's we
So
do,
why
but when
why
there
are
are
the charges?
issues, sorry.
Okay, why are the charges being billed 3 months in arrears? It is an opportunity to confuse the customer into paying duplication of charges.
I would encourage you to contact our customer assistance folks because they can help look into this in more detail.
Yeah, we did reach out to them and they don't know. So
If there is, I think they should have told you. If they didn't, I will. That if you are concerned that they did not get the right answer, there is an opportunity then to file a formal complaint, which then gets litigated similar to a court case, but it would be an opportunity to dig in there as well.
yeah, so the person who calls actually doesn't know what's being investigated. Like, there's like two sets of person, like one is actually calling, the other person is actually investigating. So the person who's actually investigating needs to call.
Okay. Thank you for your comment today, Ms. Faruqi.
Thank you.
Don't see any other hands up at this point, so we'll conclude the public comment period of today's meeting. Please note that the public may continue to submit comments to the commissioners at any time via email at lara-mpsc-commissioners@michigan.gov. That email again is in the meeting notice as well. I have just one announcement today, and that is that the commission has launched a podcast, which I'm very excited about. It's called Behind the Meter, which is a sort of tip of the hat to behind the meter infrastructure that we've talked a lot about today in terms of distributed energy resources. But the goal of the podcast is to provide monthly conversation around issues that matter to Michigan energy and telecommunications customers. And we have issued or posted 2 podcasts at this point. Episode 1 serves as sort of a general introduction to the commission. You get to hear from all 3 of us as part of that. And the second episode talks about what the commission regulates and how our role has changed over the years. That includes insights from our longest serving employee, Paul Proudfoot, who's been with the commission now more than 50 years. So a lot of the changes over the years, Paul has both seen and been instrumental in implementing. So that podcast is available on our website, michigan.gov/MPSC, and also posted to wherever you get your favorite podcasts, and encourage you to check it out. Are there any other announcements today? Okay. Well, we will conclude today's meeting with that then. The next regular commission meeting is scheduled for Friday, March 21st. So that's a week from tomorrow, and that will be at 1:00 p.m. Is there a motion to adjourn, Commissioner Perisic?
I move to adjourn today's meeting.
I second the motion.
We will now have a vote on the motion to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The meeting is adjourned. Thanks, everybody.